Welcome, and thanks for being with us today. Your commitment to enhancing your English abilities and bettering yourself is truly valued. There was a stage in my life when opening an English grammar book made my heart sink, as if I were walking into a fight that I was certain I would lose. Whenever I noticed names like past perfect or future continuous, my thoughts became confused and I felt my eyes getting heavy with sleep. I honestly thought that I simply did not have the ability to learn another language, that English was meant for other people, and that I would always stand outside looking in. It was not laziness that stopped me, it was a deep sense of helplessness. The part that frightened me most was not new vocabulary, but the endless rules that I could not see the reason for learning. At school, our teachers mainly showed us how to memorize structures, as though grammar were a mathematical formula to follow step by step. I filled many pages with complicated patterns, and before each exam, I forced myself to remember them all. I managed to choose the right answers on tests, yet inside I did not truly understand what I had written. Just a few weeks after the exam, everything I had memorized faded away. Each time that happened, I quietly told myself that maybe I was not clever enough. This repeated disappointment slowly weakened my confidence, and grammar became something I wanted to stay away from. For a long time, I believed that no one could actually enjoy studying grammar until one afternoon I spent in the library. I was sitting across from a middle-aged man, and what surprised me was that he looked happy while learning. When I looked closer, I saw that he was writing very simple English sentences in a small notebook. There were no difficult charts, only everyday lines that sounded like parts of a story. I finally asked him why he seemed so interested. He smiled and explained that he did not begin with rules. He preferred to explore grammar through examples and real events from his own life. He told me that each structure is like a small tool, and a tool only becomes exciting when we use it to create something meaningful. His answer was simple, but at that moment it felt like a new path opening in front of me. That night, instead of returning to my old grammar book full of theory, I took a blank sheet of paper. I began to write easy sentences about myself and my daily routine. I wake up at 6. I brush my teeth. I drink coffee and check my phone. I spoke these lines aloud slowly, as if I were sharing my personal story. For the first time, the present simple tense felt real because it described my actual life in English. I did not try to memorize any definition, I simply noticed how each sentence was built. And strangely, I no longer felt bored or sleepy while studying. The next day, I decided to continue by talking about what had happened the day before. I woke up at 6. I brushed my teeth. I felt tired, but I went to work. I realized that by slightly changing the verb form, the entire story moved into the past. I spoke to myself in English and even laughed at how awkward I sounded. I also watched videos with subtitles, paused them, and repeated the sentences while trying to feel the emotion behind them. The past simple tense stopped being a rule in a book and became a way to describe a real day from my life. In the past, every mistake made me feel ashamed, but gradually I began to see things differently. When I used an incorrect verb, I chose to ask myself why instead of criticizing myself. I started to treat each mistake as a small teacher that helped me notice what I did not understand clearly. I set tiny goals for myself, only one grammar point, one example, or one short paragraph each day. Some days, I focused only on using one preposition correctly, and I accepted that as enough progress. I stopped pushing myself to master everything in a short time. This slower approach surprisingly helped me improve much more steadily. After a few months, I noticed that I was using different tenses more naturally without overthinking. I could speak about my plans for the next day without searching my mind for the correct structure. After 1 year, grammar no longer felt like a tall wall blocking my way, but like a group of tools that I could use freely. I was still not perfect, yet I felt confident enough to express my ideas. This feeling was very different from simply getting high marks on a test. It was the sense that I had some control over the language in my own style. There was also a period when I needed to study parts of speech, and I knew that if I followed my old memorizing method, I might give up again. Instead of repeating lists of nouns, adjectives, and adverbs, I decided to create humorous sentences. Wow, the red dog jumped on the table and barked loudly. I examined every word carefully to see which ones named things, which ones described them, and which ones explained how actions happened. Because the sentence sounded a bit silly, it stayed in my memory for a long time. I finally understood that parts of speech are not just facts to memorize, but roles that words play in a bigger picture. If you are afraid of grammar the way I once was, I want to share one sincere message with you. You do not have to master all the tenses within a single month. Begin with your present life and write about what you are doing today. Then describe what happened yesterday. After that, talk about what you plan to do tomorrow. These small steps will make grammar feel more real and less confusing. Different tenses will simply become different ways to tell the story of your own life. I used to be the person who avoided grammar whenever it was mentioned. I truly believed that learning English well was impossible for me. However, simple sentences, small corrections, and daily practice slowly changed everything. If someone as shy and unsure as I was can turn grammar into a useful tool, then you can achieve it as well. You do not need perfection, you only need curiosity. You do not need to move quickly, you only need to keep going consistently. Just one sentence each day, one clear example, one small improvement. One day, you will notice that grammar is no longer blocking your path. Instead, it becomes a kind of superpower that allows you to express your thoughts, share your experiences, and step into the world with a confidence you once did not have. If you find this video interesting and helpful, please give me a like and subscribe.